Gaming for Nation's Gregory Laporte, and I'm here with Parker from Square Enix, and we're talking about Final Fantasy 13 too. Final Fantasy 13 2, what can you tell me about it?
So basically this is a sequel to a Final Fantasy game. We don't do it often. 13-2 takes place about 3 years after 13. You're going to see returning characters like Lightning, Sarah, her younger sister, if you're familiar. We're going to have some brand new characters like Noel, and basically it's kind of a time-traveling adventure set in all the world of Final Fantasy 13.
Okay, now in Final Fantasy 13, you didn't have time travel. What's the aspect in this game that's different from the other one? How does that work out with the time traveling aspect in it?
Time travel is really in the game to let players see some of the returning locations. It's essentially in the same game world as 13 was. So we want areas to return, but we don't want to just recycle assets. We want to make kind of brand new environments based on the old ones. And so time travel is kind of the mechanism that lets us show brand new content. You're going to see areas in a different time period that you might recognize, but it's not going to be nearly the same. So we can kind of show all this new stuff without necessarily creating a brand new game world. We want things to still be set in Cocoon and Pulse, and players to feel familiar that way.
Okay, now in the first Final Fantasy 13, you didn't really have that much exploration. It was more so the first 9 chapters were kind of linear. You just kept going straight, and then we got to like chapter 10. That was when you kind of explored the world. So how are you going to improve on that in this one?
That's the best question you can ask. We'll open the map up when you get a chance to play. Basically, the demo here is like chapter 2 in the game, very early on still. So, and if you open the map, you're already going to see the map itself twists and turns. There's optional pathways, alternate content. You start out basically in a town. So we're trying to, very early on in the game, open things up quite a bit more, add side missions, add kind of optional pathways, just add stuff for players to explore and dig around for and play the game at their own pace now rather than having to be pushed along a rail.
Now, what can you tell me about the new enemies in the game? I noticed you have Atlas and some other character that's fighting with Lightning. What can you tell me about that?
Well, our main bad guy, he's brand new to the series. He's got a beef with Lightning, and they're fighting in this area called Valhalla, which is brand new. I don't want to reveal too much, it's a spoiler. You're always, like in any Final Fantasy, you're going to have several bosses, but one of the things we're doing here is trying to put monsters closer to the forefront. So you'll have some returning monsters, Cactuar, who's recognizable, bombs, everything you remember from Final Fantasy games. But the difference here is that you can bring a lot of those into your party now. So you can basically acquire them, add them to your party, they'll fight alongside you like a party character would. And you can grow them, cultivate them as if they were own characters, and we're really trying to let players kind of interact with the environment more that way.
Okay, now the combat system. Yeah. I'm personally a fan of all the Final Fantasy combat systems, so what can you tell me more about the paradigm shift and how have you improved on that or changed it?
So adding monsters into the paradigm system is one way that we're trying to improve it, to add a little more strategy to what's going on there. On top of that, we have cinematic action sequences, which take the fast pace of the paradigm system and then add kind of miniature cutscenes that take place mid-battle. So as you're fighting a big boss fight, you'll see button prompts come up. If you can complete those successfully, you'll see these events play out, kind of miniature cutscenes. Again, we're just trying to kind of increase the clip of certain parts of the game. We're not going to make it punishing. It's not an action game. It's still Final Fantasy. But we just want players to feel a little more involved and a little more engaged as they go.
All right, now my final question is, in Final Fantasy 13, when I reached the last boss, that guy had so much health, it took a ridiculous time to defeat him. Are there going to be enemies like that in this game as well?
There will absolutely be challenging enemies. One of the things we're trying to do in general is we're not going to make the game impossible, but we want to make sure that players are challenged throughout the game. So if you felt that there was big disparity between that difficulty, one of the prime things we're trying to do here is to balance that out, to make sure that you're constantly challenged in a good way throughout the game. There's going to be optional content, there's going to be stuff that's going to challenge the heck out of you, you'll spend hours beating it, but players want that, and we want to make sure we give it to them.
All right, Parker, I want to say thank you for taking out the time to talk to Gaming for Nation. It was a pleasure doing the interview with you.
Likewise.
And have a good day. Gaming for Nation, gaming and health.